Welcome back in Sunday. Feels like we've been through a war with all these injuries that we've had. Feels like we're playing in week 18, not week 17, but we're here. Got some questions already. So, with all the injuries, figured I went back and forth about jumping on and going live. And with all the injuries, I figured probably a good idea to go live and answer some questions we have. So, for everybody, the injuries for this week, it's a pretty long list. And this is just players that have not played yet. Jalen Waddle is not going to play. Tua is not going to play. Chuba, CeeDee Lamb, Tony Pollard, Jalen Hurts, Anthony Richardson, Alvin Kamara, David Njoku, Kate Otten are all out, questionable right now. And it doesn't look like Christian Watson's going to play, but um, he has not been officially ruled out. Then you have MVS, Tolbert, and Xavier Legette. But we are expected to play Devontae Adams, Malik Neighbors, and Tyreek Hill. So we already got some questions in the chat. That's what we're here for. Let's get to those. First one up is Brew Neal. I need one running back, a tight end, and a flex. Brian Robinson, Tracy Ford, Devonta Smith, Hawkinson, Janu, and Chig Okonkwo. Full PPR. Also another league. Should I bench Achane for Spears? So let's answer the first one. As far as the running backs are concerned, I would go with Brian Robinson at the running back. At tight end, it's close. I actually like Hawkinson and Chig quite a bit here. Both of them have played really well. It's a pretty big downgrade, right, for all of the Dolphins pass catchers with losing Tua. We've seen this. We've seen this before. Quarterback play is really poor. Doesn't matter who it is, and this offense just absolutely falls on its face without him. And so I really don't want to play any Dolphins if I don't have to. And so for me here, I think that kind of removes Janu for me, as sad as it is, as well as he's played. I think it comes down to Hawkinson and Chig. And for me, I'm going to go with TJ Hawkinson. Really love that game. I think that's one of the best games of the entire day, is that Packers and Vikings game. So I will go with Hawkinson there. It is close. I do like Chig, but I would go with Hawkinson on that one. And then in the flex, I'm going to go with Devonta Smith here. So, and then in the other league, as crazy as it sounds, yes, I would sit Devon Achane for Tajay Spears. Tajay Spears this week is now a certified top 12 running back without Tony Pollard in the lineup, especially in this matchup against the Jaguars. So, yeah, I would play Tajay Spears here over Devon Achane. Like I said, crazy as it sounds, but and then Harold, Garendo or Spears in a standard league. I would still go Spears here without Tony Pollard. Spears has started to play much better recently. We know how efficient he can be, how explosive he can be. I don't mind Garendo, but it's not the best matchup. The 49ers are still missing a good portion of their offensive line. I know the Lions defense is really banged up, but they've still done they've still managed to play pretty good run defense. So I don't mind Garendo. I still think he's like a top 20 running back, but like I just said, Spears, even in a standard league, is a top 12 running back. Michael, half point PPR, one running back, or one wide receiver, two running backs, one flex. Tyreek Hill, Thielen, Jaden Reed, Rashad White, Brian Robinson, Garendo, Ford, Tracy. So in wide receiver, I'm going to go with Jaden Reed. In the flex, I'm going to go with Adam Thielen. And then at running back, I'm going to go with Brian Robinson and Isaac Garendo on that one. Tracy, I don't mind. I think he's still like a back end top 24 running back this week, but I would have Garendo above him. And as far as Jerome Ford is concerned, now with all these players with Tua out in that offense, like actually the Browns are actually a really good defense to play this week. And I think this could actually be more of a Deonta Foreman game that Jerome Ford, because before, it was they were going to be playing from behind, the way all that set up. But now, I mean, this game could end up being a really close game. And I don't think that favors Jerome Ford as much as it would Deonta Foreman. So I'm not as high on Jerome Ford. I think it actually hurts Jerome Ford more than it helps him. So, and then halfway PPR, one wide receiver, one flex, Neighbors, Jameson Williams, London, Garendo, Rashad White, Ford, Tracy Spears. So wide receiver, I'm going to go with Drake London. And then in the flex, I'm going to go with Tajay Spears. and then one wide receiver, two running backs, one tight end, one flex. So wide receiver, I'm going to go with London. Running back, we're going to go with Spears and Garindo. Tight end, we're going to go with Sam Laporta. And then in the flex, I'm going to go with Adam Thielen in the flex. So yeah, London, Thielen, Spears, Garindo, and Laporta. Yeah. Half point PPR, McMillan or Downs, Rashad White or Ford. This one I'm going to go with Josh Downs. Now with Joe Flacco starting at quarterback, it's a pretty big boost. I was looking at this last night and late last night, once we officially got all this news, and with Joe Flacco in the 5 games he started this year, Josh Downs has seen a 29% target share compared to just 17% for Michael Pittman. He is the clear number 1 wide receiver for Joe Flacco. So Josh Downs gets a pretty big boost with Joe Flacco in the lineup. So pretty easily Josh Downs for me. And then halfway PPR, Rashad White, Ford, or Spears. This is going to be Spears again. Neighbors, that's a little banged up, or McMillan. So one thing that concerns me with the Panthers today is while this game looks really good, especially with the way the Panthers offense has been playing, is I'm not sure what they're doing because it feels like they're packing it in. They're trying to get this high draft pick because they are missing a ton of pieces on their defense. And what worries me is that we've seen the Bucks. If they get up quickly on you, they will start to just pound the rock and they just completely go away from the pass. Now, Bryce Young is obviously still playing, but something that I thought was weird is they brought up Jack Plummer, which a lot of people don't know who he is. Fine, he's rookie quarterback. That's kind of weird for them to elevate a quarterback like that. I don't know what they're planning on doing. I don't know if they're planning on pulling Bryce Young at any point. So I have some concerns there. So while I think Jalen McMillan is still a really good play, I think I would go with Malik Neighbors. I mean, he's still seeing a really high target share. I know, the injury concern or whatever. If you don't feel comfortable going with Malik Neighbors, I don't mind going with Jalen McMillan. They still have to get there at some way. But I think that there's a chance here that the Bucks could just steamroll the Panthers today, and because the Panthers are just missing so many pieces, half their defense is out, and it just worries me a little bit with what they're doing here. Some of the stuff they're doing, and it just feels like that they're just packing it in with over the last 2 games. Wish I didn't start James Conner. I need to start one flex. Brian Robinson, Ford, Tracy Cooks, McMillan, Kincaid. Yeah, I mean, it was tough with him. I mean, I don't know why he even played. I really don't. Like, clearly, the hyperextension of his knee was still bothering him. It made no sense. He didn't even look like the same guy. I mean, he looked like a guy playing with a knee injury. No clue why they were playing him. They had no reason to. They're out of it. They had nothing to play for other than trying to hurt the Rams' chances of playing. So I have no idea why they did that. It was clear that Michael Carter looked like the better running back of the two of them last night, and so I have no idea why they did that. It would have obviously been helpful because obviously for us to know that, for them to do that, but so playing Connor, you're going to need some upside here, and so looking at this, I think. Is this also? Can you? I don't know if you're still in here. Is this James Cooks or is this Brandon Cooks? Because that obviously would affect things. But if it's Brandon Cooks, I'm not playing Brandon Cooks. I would go with. I think your best bet here is probably Brian Robinson. Okay, Brandon Cooks. Okay, I just wanted to make sure because if it was James Cook, it'd be easily James Cooks. But I would go Brian Robinson here. It's not the best matchup for the Falcons are actually a little bit better against the run than they are against the pass. They're terrible against the pass, but I still think that he's going to see enough work. This is obviously still a must-win game for them. They actually have some chance of winning the division, but This is still a pretty big game for them. Obviously, it's a huge game for the Falcons too. For the Falcons to make the playoffs, they have to win out, and as long as they do, they're in. But I would go with Brian Robinson here. I think of all the options you have, so I think that's the way I would go. And then which defense? Colts, Browns, Raiders, Washington, Saints. I would go with the Colts here against the Giants. I mean, obviously we've seen how bad this Giants offense is, and it's been like printing money playing their defense. What the? Wasn't expecting this.
Hi.
I do. I thought you were still out of town.
No, we ended up not being able to go. We've been sick this entire time. It's like the first time that I've woken up with any amount of energy. Carson still had fevers up until like 2 days ago. Katie now has pneumonia, so happy holidays.
Damn, that sucks.
I saw the bat signal go up. You know what? Let's finish this year out right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I was back and forth if I was going to do it just because of all the games have already happened, but with all these damn injuries, I was like, maybe we should just go live.
Yeah,
because it's been a bloodbath.
It's wild, man.
And there's a lot of discourse on like Twitter about like, oh, this is why we need to get rid of week 17, do week 16. Like, I don't remember this being like this last year. I mean, I'm just like, it's a 1 year, okay?
No,
like let's relax. Just because something happened doesn't mean you obviously have to go run and change it. So
yeah, I saw the same thing, and I was like, how did we get here? Like, I get it sucks, especially because we have big names coming down. Not a lot of time to like even react to some of the news. Like Tony Pollard was kind of like not unexpected, but like a lot of people thought he was going to play through it this week. So there's just like not a lot of time to react to the news and everything that's happening. But it's like this is what we're doing. All right.
yeah, I was talking about it because I was looking at the Panthers and what they're doing. And like I have some concern that like because they brought up Jack Plummer from their practice squad, their backup quarterback, rookie quarterback, and I'm like, why are we bringing him up? Like, what are we doing? Like, are they planning on like not playing Bryce Young or something like that? Because it just seemed odd for them to do that. So I don't know what they're doing, and like half their defense is out. It doesn't sound like Clowney's going to play. I know J.C. Horn's out. Like, I don't know. So there's some speculation that maybe they're just shutting it down.
Wow. I mean, gotta protect your franchise, I guess.
Yeah. So I don't know, and maybe it's wrong. Maybe that's not what they're doing. I don't know, but it just seemed odd for them to do that.
Yeah.
So and then we got a little Penn State love. What do they do? They play? Do they play Tuesday or do they play Wednesday?
New Year's Eve.
What time's that game?
7:30, I think.
Okay.
Eastern.
Okay. I mean, if anybody cares, Missouri plays Iowa on Monday afternoon. So if anybody wants to catch that bowl game. So.
The middle of the country, who gives a fuck bowl?
Yeah. I'll be at work. Richard, Standard League, need a tight end, Jonnu or Laporta.
There's Laporta.
Yeah. I can't play anybody with Tua out. So I was.
Not only that, I'm not sure if you touched on it yet, but we have weather concerns there as well.
Yeah. There's definitely going to be some wind for sure.
Yeah, it sounds like second half, 35 mile per hour plus.
Yeah, it couldn't get any worse. So, Laporta, and then this is going to be, oh Lord.
Man.
So, I mean, this is also one of those games that there's weather concerns. So, there's so from Roto Grinders, Kevin Roth, there's a line of stars poised to move through Jacksonville in game and will bring significant heavy rain for leading edge with lighter rain sticking around behind it. I actually think there's a pretty good chance that we see a delay in this game due to lightning. Though it's a bit too early to tell, you'll exactly when. My guess would be that the kickoff is delayed. I think if there's no delay, I expect a heavy rain at some point, light to moderate rain gone most of the game. If they end up with a lightning delay, they'll of course avoid the worst of the rain. The winds isn't that big of a deal, 10 mile an hour, but could get some gusts to 20 miles an hour. But let's hope for a delay. Because for me, I think it would be Brian Thomas, but Spears is also a hell of a play.
I think this comes down to I feel like I say this all the time, but if you need to swing, I'm going BTJ. If you need the safe points, I would go Spears. So this one to me would be matchup dependent. But I do really like Spears in this matchup.
Yeah. Start Mayfield or Goff. I have Amon Laporta, then start Colts D or Dolphins D.
I'd probably just to not even mess around with, because the same thing, Kev, you were just talking about with the Jacksonville game, those same storms are potentially going to impact the Tampa Bay game. So I think I would just not even fuck around with any of it, and I think I would just go Goff.
Yeah, and it's a pretty solid matchup, especially with all the injuries that the 49ers have for Goff. So just run out that triple stack there with Goff, Amon-Ra, and Laporta. And then Colts or Dolphins D. I'm going to go with the Colts.
Colts.
Browns or Colts defense. This is going to be the Colts.
Colts.
Same here. Colts defense.
Jack in the crack. I love
it. John, hey man, Daniels, Bucky, Spears, Amon-Ra, Reed, Kittle, and Bills. Von H. McMillan, Jennings, Colts D on the bench. Look okay to you. I would play the Colts D over Bills D. Like I said with Achane, I really don't want to play him if I don't have to. It really would depend on what other options you have. Because I'm not just going to sit him for anybody, obviously. But if you had a good enough option, I would look to sit him.
Yeah. Do you not have a flex spot here, John?
Oh, wait. Maybe I'm reading that wrong. Assuming he has... Oh. Daniels, Bucky, Spears, Amon-Ra, Reed, Kittle, Beers, Bells, D. H. McMillan, Jennings, and Colts D on the bench. Okay. I was reading that wrong. I assume. Yeah, I don't see a flex spot here, so I don't know if he does have one or not. But the rest of it look great. I mean, Jane Daniels, Bucky, Spears, Amon-Ra, Reed, Kittle, all that looks great. I would definitely play the Colts D over the Bills. I have the Colts defense, the number one defense now this week, so I'm playing the Colts over anybody. Well, if that's the roster, then yeah, we're good.
I'll keep an eye at the bottom. See if
Ronnie, morning, Ronnie, Philly or Colts defense? Colts defense.
Do we just want to put a banner up at the bottom? Just says Colts defense no matter what.
Yeah. Scott, thanks for all you do over the season. Appreciate your time you put into fantasy. Appreciate you, Scott. It's been a fun year. Obviously, today hasn't been as fun with all the injuries, but for the most part, been a little bit of a we always say it every year, weird year, but it's more so with all the especially wide receiver injuries. It's been kind of weird. Scoring was down for the most part this year in terms of overall scoring from teams, stuff like that. But still a fun year. Now we're getting ready to gear up for the old rookie cycle again, so that's always fun.
Hell yeah. all the random practice injuries we had.
Oh yeah, can't tell you how many players just got hurt in practice. I don't know if I've ever seen that many players just get hurt practicing. Patrick, fighting for my life to get third place money. Kendre Miller or Raheem Blackshear, halfway PPR. Thank you. I don't really have a good lean on how that Panthers backfield is going to shake out. The beat reporter for the Panthers said that Mike Boone, he's going to get a boon in touches. Yeah. Whatever that means. I think I would just go Kendre Miller. I don't have a great feel for it either, but I don't really know what to expect from that backfield. I very well could be Mike Boone. Instead of Raheem Blackshear. So I think I would just go Kendre Miller and a better matchup. And it's also crazy, too. I don't know if you saw, but the Raiders didn't leave. It was like 10 or 11 o'clock last night. They hadn't even left the airport yet because they had some malfunctions with their plane. So, they didn't leave till super late. So, they are going to be getting there and have, 12 hours to play until they play. So, that's probably not good for travel and everything else to be able to play an NFL football game the next day.
Interesting. Yeah, I lean Kendre as well.
One thing frustrating about that situation is, we saw last week, Jordan Mims all of a sudden started getting, but I don't know if it was because they were getting blown out. I have no idea why that would be. But and they also have CEH, who they could also get run, who they picked up. So I don't know. But I would probably go Kendre Miller. Because I will say the Bucs run defense has been phenomenal lately. They've been like a brick wall. So I don't really want to play a running back there either. Anyway, so Ken, Colts defense.
Yep.
Jack in the Crack, Browns or Colts? Colts defense. Mike, pick two at a standard. Debo, London, Thielen, McMillan, Ridley. Ooh, this is tough.
Man.
This is tough. I really like a lot of these wide receivers. I'm going to go London. Man.
I go London and Debo.
I think, it comes down to Ridley and Debo for me. But I think I would go with Debo here. Don't have to worry about the weather concerns and all that stuff from that game. It's super close between the two of them. I think I would just use that as a tiebreaker. We finally, the last 2 weeks, they've really tried to make a concerted effort to get the ball to Debo Samuel.
And last week, I feel like he looked like Debo. It's the first time in a while watching him where he looked like himself.
Yeah, and it's their willingness to let him run the ball too. But you might be able to get a rushing touchdown out of him as well, especially in the standard league. So we're trying to get touchdowns. So I think that's the way I would go. Brandon McManus or Jake Elliott? It's gonna be McManus.
Cool.
Tennessee, San Francisco, Dallas, Raiders defense to start. Oh boy. I guess I would go Tennessee.
That's where I was leaning as well.
I might have said the Raiders had I not got that information about them not taking so long for them to get there, because I do think that is a big concern. We kind of see it with East Coast, West Coast teams, all this kind of stuff, right? It just kind of throws everything off, and then for them to have that happen, it's just kind of a big concern, especially for a team to stop playing for anything anyway, so they're already packing it in. So not that the Saints are, but I think I would just lean to safety and go Tennessee. I'm really thinking about starting Spears over Cook at a half-weight PPR.
I understand it. I couldn't pull the trigger on it, but I understand it.
I would do it. Like I said, I just think Spears is kind of a top 10 running back now, and I have Cook as more of a middling RB2 in the spot. I think I would do it. I mean, I'd pull the trigger. I mean, we're shooting for upside. We're trying to win. I'm assuming in the championship, and I think Spears just has a higher ceiling than Cook does at this point with his spot. So I even in a half point PPR, I think I would go. I would do it. Especially, I mean, if your gut's telling you to do it, I would do it. Like, I don't mind it at all. I have him ranked ahead of him. I'm playing a ton of them in DFS, which who's not? He's 5,400 on DraftKings, but I have full guy. Yeah, I would play it. I would do it. I'd pull the trigger. If you ain't first or last. Zach, PPR, appreciate the super chat. Need a super flex and a flex. Flacco, Reed, Jennings, Downs, Jabo, Back Jones, Ridley. So I would play Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
And then in the flex, I would go Jaden Reed.
Man. I think I would go Jennings. That's tough. I like a lot of those receivers.
I do too. Yeah, I mean, I think I definitely think Juwan Jennings is the safer play, right? And I think you can make an argument at the same ceiling as Jade Reed does. I mean, we've seen it. We've seen him have these monster games. And targets have been there. They just haven't really connected with Brock Purdy. So obviously it's a good matchup. The Saints the Lions, their secondary is beat up as it is, their defense is beat up as it is. So yeah, you know what? Yeah, maybe I'd go Jennings, just be a little bit smarter about it. Like, I really like Jaden Reed, but I also understand that there's the scenario where he scores 5. Like, he's just been super volatile this year. I love the spot, love the matchup. But I do think probably you're probably a little bit better off going with Juwan Jennings, just the spot, the matchup, everything else that goes with it, versus going Jaden Reed here. So yeah, I agree. Flacco and Juwan Jennings. Final answer. Colts defense against the Giants or Eagles defense against the Cowboys. For Felix, this is going to be the Colts defense for both of us. Ken Ridley or Blackshear, this is going to be Calvin Ridley for me.
Mm-hmm.
Hawkinson or Chig. Had this one earlier. These are really close for me. I prefer TJ Hawkinson, though. It is really close. I have both as top 10 tight ends this week, but I would go with Hawkinson.
I lean Hawkinson as well. I do like Chig. Took his over 37.5 receiving yards. So I do like him, but I would still lean Hawkinson in a start sit decision.
Yeah, I mean this Vikings Packers game has the highest total on the week, so it looks like the best spot. So Eli, Felix or Flex, Flex, Dobbs, Chig, or Blackshear. So I was looking into this spot because it looks like Christian Watson's not going to play. As long as he's not. The thing is, between Dobbs and Jaden Reed, so the Vikings run a very, very heavy zone offense or defense, excuse me. And Dobbs has not been the guy against zone. He is their man beater. He is by far their best man wide receiver. Against zone, he falls off. And it's actually Jaden Reed who's actually their best bet or best option and performs best against zone, where Jaden Reed's been terrible against man. He's been awesome against zone. And so I'm not as excited about playing Romeo Dobbs. Romeo Dobbs is always so hard to get right, but I prefer Dontavian Wicks and Jaden Reed over Romeo Dobbs. So I think I would go with Chig here because I really like Chig. I'm not playing Blackshear.
I'm with it.
Noel, Downs, Jacoby, Mooney, or Debo, half-point PPR. Only one of these.
I'm a sucker. I'll go Debo. I do think it's a good spot for him because I fit like after 14 touches or 14 opportunities I think last week. So
oh man. I'm gonna go with Josh Downs. I was talking about this. I was looking at in the 5 games, which is not a huge sample size, but the 5 games Joe Flacco has started this year, Josh Downs has seen a 30% target share in those games. He is clearly their number one. Like he has like 46 targets in those 5 games. The next closest is like 24 targets to Michael Pittman. Some of that I will say could be because Michael Pittman during that time was dealing with like a back injury and stuff like that. So maybe that has more to do with it or something to do with why he's been. But I think Josh Downs is just a safer play. I think it's a really, really good matchup, obviously against the Giants. Man. So yeah, I would go Josh Downs, but I don't mind the Debo call at all. I think it's really close between those two. And then Flacco, Bryce Young, or Penix. Start of the week, it would have been easily Bryce Young for me. But all this stuff has me nervous. Because I really like Bryce Young. Like I think that the way he's played, we saw him the last time these two teams played. I think he scored like 25 fantasy points that game. The Bucs pass defense has been horrible all year. Flacco worries you some because in terms of volume between the two quarterbacks, like do they just control the game and let Jonathan Taylor run the ball 30 times today and don't really have to throw the ball as much? Where I think it's pretty clear that I would just the Bryce Young is probably going to be playing from behind, especially with already a bad defense and half their defensive players are out. I think I would just swing and go Bryce Young though. He's the one that I liked all week, and I'm not going to let some of the stuff bother me. So I would go Bryce Young here.
Yeah.
We buy homes non PPR flex 1: Jaden Reed, Ford, Garindo, or Rashad White. I'm going to go Jaden Reed.
We buy any car. Any. Give me Garindo here.
He's the other option I was looking at. I don't mind that play either, especially at a non-PPR.
Yeah. That's what's pushing that over the edge for me. Sounds like he's going to be good to go. Obviously, the Lions defense, even though they were a pass funnel earlier in the year, they're completely devastated by injuries on every single level of their defense. So I'm going to lean Garindo here with the volume.
John, Achane without Tua or Garrett Wilson, both bad weather. I would go Garrett Wilson.
Golly. I'm going to go Achane. You want to talk about some concerning reports? I saw one come across that Garrett Wilson could request a trade if Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback for the Jets next year. Doesn't sound great.
That's crazy though, because if you remember when before that happened, the trade happened, like Garrett Wilson was like champagning for them to bring him in and to bring him over, him and like Sauce Gardner. and it has just gotten bad to worse. I don't know what they're going to do with that situation, but clearly there's something going on between them two.
Yeah.
And I don't really know what you do though at the Jets. You just completely blow the whole thing up and just start anew. I don't know.
Again. Yeah, I don't know.
I can't imagine you trade Garrett, because I know there's some people that will expect that maybe they trade Garrett Wilson, but like you trade your young star wide receiver and go with Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams for a year.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. That doesn't seem like the right move. Feels like this is a spot where you just let Aaron Rodgers walk, or release him or trade him or what, but I don't know. Seems odd to me, this whole situation.
I will say I did see Kevin Roth on Twitter like 15 minutes ago posted that it seems like the worst of the rain for that Bills Jets game is going to push out before the start of the game. So it seems like the worst of it will be over by the time kickoff rolls around.
Well, that's positive then. Should I keep the Dolphins DSC rostered or pick up Raiders, Browns, or Cowboys? I would stick with the Dolphins here in this spot. I mean, just because Tua's not playing, I mean, there's on the other side, I mean, the Browns offense is still terrible with DTR. And Jameis Winston is the emergency quarterback. So you don't have to worry about that happening, and the weather and everything else. The Dolphins are still a really, really good play. So, yeah.
Yeah, those wins are not to be fucked with in that stadium either. I was there for a game a couple years ago at this point. Went for a Steelers game with some of my cousins, and it's brutal. Right off Lake Erie air. Got the air coming down.
Uncle Fresh, Brees or Spears? This one is... I think I still go Spears, but it is tough because I really like Brees Hall today.
Yeah, it could be Brees for me.
And Brees last week played almost 80% of the snaps. We finally saw him back into a workhorse role. Great schematic matchup. The Bills are terrible against running backs, even more so. Pass catching running backs. Last time these two teams played, Brees Hall saw like 8 targets in that game. They funnel everything underneath, and so I guess for the sake of being on the same page, I'll go Brees too. Because I love Brees. There's definite ways that Spears doesn't get there. Brees basically has just been the dude there in that backfield, so I'll go Brees with you because I love Brees Hall today.
Uncle Fresh, what's the rest of your lineup look like?
That's fair. Riker or McManus? This is Will Riker. I got Will Riker as a top 5 kicker this week, so easily Will Riker for me, Smitty. Who would you start at defense? Raiders, Browns, or Titans?
It's going to be the Browns for me.
Yeah. I agree. Not PPR. Jaden Reed over Drake London, or am I tripping? Yeah, I would stick with Drake London.
Yeah, it'd be London for me.
This was a game that I was also monitoring because earlier in the week it was looking like this game was going to have significant weather, the Atlanta-Washington game, but it looks better now. Looks like there's going to be rain. Looks likely at some point for the game, but not a complete washout. Winds 10 to 15 miles an hour. So that's not that big of a deal. So it doesn't look as bad as what it was looking. Earlier in the week, it was looking like it was going to be like a downpour during that game, and now it doesn't look as bad. So I would stick with Drake London here over Jaden Reed. Laporta or Ferg from Michael with no CeeDee Lamb. It's going to be Laporta for me.
I'm going to go Laporta too. Seen his usage increase over the past several weeks. Really like that game environment in general.
Yeah, I agree. I think Yeah. By the way, did you watch that last game last night, the Cardinals Rams game, or you passed out?
On and off. Yeah.
Oh my god, the final of that game. I was so mad because, of course, all year I went back and forth on Kyler Murray or Justin Herbert. Like I picked up Herbert like halfway through the year. He was sitting out there, and like I swear I've never gotten it right. Every week I'll start Herbert. It's Kyler Murray who plays better. I played Kyler Murray, Justin Herbert. So of course you could guess what I played. And yesterday, just because I felt like the Chargers, they're gonna control this game. They're gonna throw the ball very much. You know, it feels like a game that the Cardinals are gonna be trailing. They're gonna throw the ball a lot. So I played Kyler Murray, right? And for the most part, he actually didn't play bad, right? Like he was okay, and really had the opportunity there at the end of the game to score another touchdown. And I was so pissed when he threw that, but he threw an absolute rocket at Trey McBride, and he's like 6 yards from him. I'm like, dude, you just lead him, and it's an easy touchdown. He had the leverage on the corner. I'm like, all you had to do is just lead him, and he scores the touchdown there. And he throws an absolute just piss missile and smacks him in the head. And I was so mad. The ball jumps up. You know, they pick it off. Like there's been a lot of debate about like was it actually an interception? It looked like the ground helped him. Whatever, didn't matter. It was freaking Kyler Murray's fault for like I'm like, what are we doing? He is the most frustrating because like he does good things. He has some dimes that he'll throw in there. His ability to run the ball is nice, but my God. But I will say, if you had Trey McBride, it was good because Trey McBride was just getting absolute peppered with targets all night. They really need to figure out something with him and Marvin Harrison, but that was so frustrating to watch. I was so mad, and my kid, you know, Bryson, he started laughing, and I was not happy. Like, I was like, this is not funny. So, anyways, yeah, I was so frustrated. Alejandro, Superflex League, Bitch 1, Evans, Wilson, McLaurin, Jonnu, Flacco, Ridley. I'll bench Jonnu.
Yeah, Jonnu does not count. Alejandro has a message down there a little
yeah.
later.
Okay, sorry, he's not. Okay, I see that. So, bitch 1 between Evan, London, Wilson, McLaurin, Ridley. I'd bitch Wilson.
Golly. Oh boy. I think it's between Wilson and Ridley for me. And I would lean Ridley. But those are really close. Did you say Wilson?
Yeah, I'd bench Wilson, I think, yeah. Cars, you need to get rid of Murray. Yeah. I don't know. Like, and have you ever seen a quarterback just like get blown on and he falls over? Like, I'm like, dude, how many times like the last like month I've watched it, like he just like barely gets touched and he just falls over. He didn't even get touched last night and he fell and and fell over. I was I was tilting. I was so mad. Sorry, Mr. Question. I have a flex spot, but already have Henry play. Spears in my flex with Jennings, HN, and McMillan on the bench. Okay, Spears.
That's why. Yeah.
No, then I wouldn't touch that. I would leave it. Outside of, like we said, I would bench or I would play Colts over Bills D.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kevin McBride wasn't even done running his route when he threw the ball. I think could have won that game. Glad I had McBride. Yeah, I mean, McBride went nuclear. I mean, that was phenomenal. If you had McBride, I mean, which I do. So that was nice. But I was just, I don't know. I was so dumbfounded when that happened. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Like, what is going on? So I don't know. Like, Drew Petzing is definitely a problem. Like he is not a good offensive coordinator. They need to get rid of him. But some of it's also on Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray makes some really bad decisions sometimes. He holds the ball too long instead of just going with his read and getting rid of the ball. Saw it multiple times with Marvin Harrison where he's like, and he finally throws it. I'm like, if you would have thrown it, I don't know, a couple seconds earlier, probably would have been a great throw, or he would have caught it. But I don't know. So we'll see. And I'm sure this time, we're not this time next year, but I'm sure once we get to like July or August, I'm somehow going to talk myself. Something's going to happen where I'm like, Kyler Murray. Okay, let's talk about why Kyler Murray is a good pick this year, and it's going to get me every time.
Yeah.
Joshua, Philly or Bills? I'll go Bills here.
Yes.
Reichert or Gay? This is going to be Reichert there, Smitty. This is for the championship, by the way. No pressure. Yeah. Good luck. Let's win those chips. Brilliant. Thanks for all your help, guys. Happy New Year when it comes. Yeah. Happy New Year to you, John. Hopefully have a good year. And, let's win this today. Send it off on a good note. Patch over on Twitch. Tajay Spears or Chandler McMillan. This is Tajay's for me. Half-point PPR.
Yeah.
It was sad to see McBride upset crying like it was his fault at the end of the game. Yeah, it was not his fault. It was like
it was weird.
Yeah. Well, I felt like he felt like he cost him the game. And it wasn't his fault at all. It was Kyler Murray's fault.
Kyler Murray out there just wanting to play Call of Duty, just taking sniper shots.
I know. I saw that as a lot of the talk. Yeah. My goodness. I don't know. That was mind-blowing to me. Like he threw a rocket at him. I'm like, dude, what are we doing? Anyways. DeMarcus, who should have started by flex? Adam Thielen or Neighbors? It's Devontae Adams for me.
Yeah, it's hard to not say Adams at this point.
Yeah. Also, just fun things to look at this time of the year, especially trying to make decisions, is I guess Adams needs one touchdown for I think it's 50 touchdowns or something like that between him and Rodgers or something like that. I can't remember how many it is, but there's some milestone that he can hit today. For him and Rodgers, needs one touchdown to hit it. So I can't remember what the thing is. But I feel like it's they're going to do. Rodgers is going to do whatever he can to probably get him that touchdown. So, forgot didn't hit the defense. Raiders or Cowboys?
Raiders.
Yeah.
I feel like the Raiders defense could show up to that game 3 minutes before it kicked off and still do something.
Yeah. I mean, Chris Olave practiced in full all week, but I think it was just more of just let him be out there and practice with everybody. I don't think they really had any intention whatsoever of him playing, which is smart. That dude's had multiple concussions, this year, so I thought that was smart. But yeah, the weapons they have there, absolutely. Austin, what would you go with at flex, full PPR, Josh Jacobs or Bucky Irving? I'm going to go with Bucky Irving. It's not a good matchup for Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs is completely touchdown dependent because he still hasn't been like a good, like efficient runner. It's just he's been scoring a ton of, that's what it's like 9 touchdowns over the last 4 games or something like that. Some ridiculous. But Bucky just set up to be in a fantastic spot. And I wouldn't be surprised if Rachaad White doesn't see as many touches because they were pretty pissed off at the end of that game last week whenever Rachaad White fumbled. Pretty much cost them that game. So I would guess that Bucky could see even more touches. So I would go Bucky. And yeah, I'm not playing Neighbors over really any of those two. I was worried about when my kicker scored me 0 points against Baltimore. I'm glad I started Higgins and McBride. Yeah, Higgins went off yesterday too. Him and McBride absolutely crushed. So that was probably a good 65 points between those two.
in one of my matchups, I had Burrow and Chase going up against Chase Brown and T. Higgins. So that was super frustrating to watch that unfold. I mean, Chase still had a solid game considering he didn't find the end zone, but that drop, Jesus Christ, should have had one.
Yeah, well, Chase Brown should have scored a touchdown too. Like, literally would have fallen into the end zone, and then he tried to go down, then he hurts himself, and I'm like,
Just
the sad thing was that they scored a touchdown on the next play.
yeah.
Like, I guess the thought process behind it was that he goes down, they use their last timeout, and then you probably kneel it down or something like that, kick the game-winning field goal. I'm guessing that's what the plan was, but I don't know. Like, that was so. Thankfully, it's week 17, and like this isn't because I've had Chase Brown all year, and he's been a monster. Now, the last couple of games, it hasn't been as good for him as we've seen earlier, but still, I mean, he still was fine yesterday. But I was like, oh, I was like, okay, touchdown. Oh, and he goes down. And, oh, now he's hurt. And then they go to overtime, and that's when I was real upset. I was like, son of a bitch. So, anyways, that was frustrating. But yeah. Debro, over, under, or on total rushing yards in the pin playoff game, Cody?
I was trying to look to see if there was. I can't find it on. Can't find it on Bet365, but I was looking to see if there was a line out there for that anywhere.
Ashton Jeanty.
If Penn State can't wrap him up, they're going to have some fucking problems. But if they can wrap him up when they get to him, I think they're going to be all right.
I'm looking forward to watching that game. I have no dog in the fight, but should be a good matchup. It's always fun to watch Ashton Jeanty. Ryan, good morning. I need one wide receiver, one running back, and one flex between Debo, McMillan, Thielen, Garendo, Tracy, Madison, or ETN. Thank you. So wide receiver, I'm going to go with Debo. Running back, I actually really like or don't mind Alexander Madison at all. Like Alexander Madison last week was targeted 7 times. I think he had like 12 or 14 touches. Like, I think he's actually a pretty good play, but I think I would go with Garendo. And then I would go with Thielen in the flex.
Where's the running back? Debo. Thielen in the flex. Then Garendo, that running back.
Yeah, same. All right. Dan, Neighbors or Josh Downs? This is Josh Downs for me.
Yeah, I think it's right.
Jacoby Myers or Drake London? Debro, I'm going to go with Drake London.
Yeah. It's just hard with AOC just because he just peppers the fuck out of Brock Bowers.
Yeah. Start 1 tight end, 2 flex. So Chig, Ferguson, the only tight end. I think so. Yeah. So that's Chig Okonkwo for me at tight end over Ferguson.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2 flex between Dowdle, Tracy, Devonta Smith, Reed, Judy, Kendra, Tolbert. I'm going to go with Jaden Reed and Devonta Smith.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's the last question. So
I haven't found any team level or like game total rushing over unders for that game. But Genty is at 129.5, and Nick Singleton is at 77.5.
Wait, what is Genty at?
129.5.
I guess just for who he is, like, and how he play, like, I feel like that's low. Like, which is absolutely wild that
Yeah.
130 rushing yards seems low for a player.
It does.
Start Grindo or Jameson Williams. I'm gonna go Grindo.
Guerrero for the safety. JMO if you need to take a swing. Like if you went up against Burrow, T. Higgins, McBride. If you need to make up some ground, I would go Jameson Williams. But if you feel all right about your matchup, and you just want to lock in points, I would go Guerrero.
Bryce, full PPR, Spears, Hall, Achane, Jennings, pick 3. Thank you. So this is going to be Spears, Brees Hall, and Juwan Jennings.
Yeah, I guess I'll set Achane as well.
Which
fucking
it always feels gross. So because Devon Achane has been phenomenal this year, but it's just we saw like with when Tua was out. I mean, he was averaging like 10 or 11 fantasy points per game. Like it's just not the same offense, so this team just does not play well.
Yeah.
And then you combine the weather into it and everything else, and so I just don't really see a whole lot of upside with Devon Achane. So yeah, I mean it's tough because obviously he's been awesome this year, but like I just can't do it. Jacob, Chig, or Zach Ertz PPR. This is going to be Chig.
Yep.
I mean, Chig has seen 21 targets the last 2 games, which is absolutely wild with Mason Rudolph at quarterback. So yeah, it's easily Chig for me over Zach Ertz. So, all right. Well, I think that'll wrap it up. You know, every time, third time I've tried to say it, and some comes right in. I think people just wait. Weekend Warrior, Darnold or Daniels at quarterback. Does weather worry you for Jaden Daniels? The weather doesn't look as bad as what it originally did. I would go Jaden Daniels. The Falcons' pass defense has been horrendous for the majority of the season. I don't mind Darnold at all. I think Darnold's a really good play too, top 6-7 quarterback. But I still have Jaden Daniels as a top 3 because he still provides the rushing upside as well. So I would go Jaden Daniels here.
Yeah, I agree.
No problem. Weekend Warrior. All right. So I think we're gonna with that we're gonna get out of here. Appreciate all the help, all the support. Oh. We buy homes. I swear you did that on purpose. Last one, Guerrero Ford Tracy over Achane. Thanks. Happy New Year. This will be Guerrero.
Yeah, Guerrero for me as well.
All right, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Appreciate all the support this year. We'll be back soon with more content. We will be continuing doing the DFS show throughout the year or throughout the next week, which is never fun because there's so much injury and news and everything else. But then we'll be doing it through the fantasy or through the NFL playoffs as well. So we'll be going live there. But we'll be doing some other content like rookie content and stuff like that. So we're not going anywhere. We'll still have content coming, but it's been a fun year. I don't know. Maybe we'll do a live stream or something. Just like lessons learned or something like that. I don't know. We'll see. We come up with anything else we might do, but yeah, appreciate all the support this year. Don't go away. We have a lot more content to come. And like I said, even though fantasy's ending, DFS is still there. So if you like playing DFS, especially through the fantasy or the NFL playoffs. It's a lot of fun. Even if you just throw in a couple lineups, we'll be doing all that content through the Super Bowl. So appreciate it. Appreciate all the support. We'll see you guys. Let's win this week. Get those chips. Happy New Year.